Hi, if this is your first time here, I'm Souldapop, and it's been a little bit, but we're going to get back into some Lost Kingdoms. And we're going to try to show what this game is all about to the uninitiated. So, to begin with, this is a game by From Software from 2002. It's an action RPG, and it's really unique. There's not really any other game like it, and it's a really real shame that we only have 2 of these games. We're going to get straight on through. First thing we do is name our character. Her normal name is Katya. We're going to name her question marks. It's not for any like secret tech for the speed run. It's just because I like naming her question mark. So we've named her question mark. We're going to get all through. We're going to get the Star Wars text that we're just going to skip on through. It's telling us that there's this fog coming in. There's monsters with it. It's killing people. Our dad's gone missing. We have to save him. And now we're going to find out why I name her question mark. Normally he comes in and screams Princess Katya, but he's going to come in and scream Princess? Our worst fears will come true. And that's the entire reason why I name her question mark. Because it's fun for me, okay? Don't judge. So let's get started. Actually hit the timer this time. So, Lost Kingdoms is an action RPG where we have these rune stones and we have these cards. The rune stones allow us to use these magic cards as certain types of attacks and for utilities. And each of them are tied to one button on the GameCube controller. See if we can get a good... That was a beautiful cutscene skip. And B, not a great hand. We're going to sidestep this guy and hit him from behind. Normally we progress slightly forward every time to make it a little bit fast. We'll probably get out at 48. 48's a decent time, so I'm not going to complain. Yeah, 48. So that was the first stage. Pretty easy. Actually, I won't say that. It's because I've done it hundreds and hundreds of times that it's pretty easy. Going in knowing nothing about this game is a little hard. There's a piece of tech there we couldn't do. Called Guard Skip, where we just run by without having to stop. This is a good hand. We got Dragonite in our hand. He didn't walk in the wrong direction, so we're going to kill him. Because it's faster to kill him than it is to try to run away. And because every time you run away, you lose a card. So every time you run away, there's a chance that you lose a card that you're going to need later on in this fight. But we are going to run here. Simply because it's faster and try. And we did lose a card that we wanted to keep. It's fine. We don't need all 3. We can manage without them. What we want to see gone are Fairy, Lycanthrope, and Birdman, because those are summon cards. Summon cards are super cool, but they're also really slow. And we lost another Lizardman. This is going to be a tough fight. This is going to be a tough fight with only 1 Lizardman. We're going to go for our first out of bounds here. Perfect. Easily the easiest out of bounds in the game. And now we're just going to run straight over all of the other tutorial stuff into this place, and when the music stops, start pressing start. Once the music stops, you can't open up the menu, so you're free to just press start until you get everything. And oh, and that guy turned and went the other way. Oh, what a Chad. What a Chad. Alright, spin around, come and get me. Come and get me. Wow. Okay. Yep, there was no way to avoid that because of the poison that I got hit with. But now we're going to try to iframe our way through this. And there we go. That was a really awkward fight, but we got out in under 3, so that's a decent time. Game did not want to cooperate with us there. Watching that third hobgoblin walk away is just heartbreaking. You're like, oh my god, they decided to all come in and I can kill them all at once. So now we're in Guard Shop. And we don't really care what she's gonna tell us. We're just gonna sell everything that's already in our deck so we don't have to take it out later. And it'll give us enough money to buy the things we need. We already have a Mandragora, so we're not going to need to buy 4 of those. We're only going to buy 3. That's one of the things in this game. You have to manage, like any other From Software game, you have to manage your inventory. You have to pay attention to what you've got and where things are. We're going to add the stuff we just got. and head into this stage. The stage is really irritating because we haven't found an out of bounds here. This is one of the only stages we haven't found an out of bounds yet. And it's actually a stage that has an up warp where we could use an out of bounds, but so far nothing. Normally that red torch is a reset point if we get an encounter there, especially if we get it before, because you can't run from the torch encounters, and if you get it before, you have to run all the way back to the torch and light it. But for the sake of showcasing the game, even if we got that encounter, I wouldn't reset. We don't want to touch that fairy. The blue fairies have a chance of giving us encounters. Every time we get an encounter, it's just time loss. And we got it before the torch encounter here. It's fine. I'm going to switch up and use this Mandragora here. And it'll instant kill it. And one of the reasons I did that was just to get it off the top of my deck. That cutscene's a little hard to get a good skip on, just because you have to skip that text box right before it. But one encounter, just green torch encounter and Blasoon, is actually pretty good. Now we're going to listen for the music to stop and start pressing start and get a really good cutscene skip there. Come across this dry river. It's got a bridge, doesn't need to be there, and enter into this boss fight. So we got 4 rays on top, that's what we want. We're going to come to the specific spot, start just blasting him with the rays. Because he has 2 attacks, one's a close-up attack, one's a ranged attack. Right there we're out of range of the close-up attack, so we won't even go for it. And we're too close to be hit by the other attack if he does manage to get one off. So that's an easy boss fight. And now we're coming up to probably my least favorite out of bounds in the game. And it's going to be even harder than normal because we got an early encounter. This one involves having to trigger a random encounter. So it's irritating in a few ways, and we lost a ray. We don't want to lose Mandragora because that's what we're going to use to get out of bounds. I much prefer all the walking out of bounds clips, but this is the best out of bounds we have for this stage. And we got the most unfortunate encounter that we can get. We were literally feet away from the encounter zone that we want to be in. So I'm going to have to run around for a little bit to trigger an encounter. It might take a while, since we got that encounter right before we came in here. This blue fairy could give us an encounter if we hit it. We got it before we got to it. Okay, that banshee could be a problem. We managed to de-aggro the skeleton completely by accident, so that's good. We just gotta hope that that banshee doesn't come over here. We're gonna shuffle until we get all the Mandragoras in our hand. That banshee is actually a super rare encounter, so it's neat. I don't know what it's trying to hit, but we're gonna use that Mandragora to get behind the chest, and then we're going to use the other one to climb up this wall, which will allow us to go out of bounds. Normally you can't climb up that wall, normally it makes you slide back down, but we push ourselves just above the threshold that makes us slide back down and allows us to go out of bounds. And because of that, we are right in front of the boss chamber now. So we're going to come in here and it's going to warp us back up. This boss can be a little tricky. I'm going to throw down this Mandragora here and apparently waste the Dragonite. Pick up some of these stones since I'm running low on mana. We want to stay outside of the range of this ball, which is going to be a little bit more difficult now. So we're going to have to use these managers to get. We're going to get hit by that. There's no way around it. Yep, this is pretty unfortunate, but he's dead. So that was a pretty trolly boss fight there. He didn't want to cooperate, which is the story of my life whenever I'm trying to showcase this game. Anytime I'm trying to showcase it, it just does not want to go smoothly for me. And now we're coming up and we're going into Shile Passage. The stage is also kind of annoying. There's no way to skip it. There is an out of bounds. It's at the end of the level. We can actually get to the end of the level right away, but there's no way to trigger the end of the level without getting a certain key. And also, you can't use the key if you're out of bounds. So the out of bounds does us no good here. So we have to play through the entire level. It's a shame, but that's just how it is. Neat little thing, when we go off the edge here, we actually get a small little slide that gives us a tiny, tiny speed boost. And you can see we got a Lizardman in our hand, which is really good. Kills that guy in 2 hits. The Rays take 4. I'm the only one that keeps the Lizardman, and this stage is one of the main reasons. It makes the stage a lot faster. But we have to go through and break all these things in order to fight the final boss. And that's what we call a buying ray. Luckily the lizard kills that enemy in 1 hit. But sometimes the rays, they have auto-targeting, and sometimes they just decide to go and target somewhere else. For that specific encounter there, we normally wait a second, and that mitigates that. We're going to kill this guy since he's in a way. Oh, and we're going to run from the encounter, because the other guy's not dead yet. For whatever reason, if you don't wait on that specific encounter, the ray can go off in the other direction. It's normally on this encounter where we get it, but to set this one up right, we end up going over to the center anyways. It's going to take 3 hits regardless of what we use, so we're just going to use rays here and save that Lizardman for the final boss. If you try to use a ray right away there, it will go off to oblivion and do nothing. This fight's a little tricky. There's a box over there we have to break open, and we have to manage to do it before we kill anything. So it is entirely possible to accidentally kill things before we break open the box. But we got a good hand so far. Water Hopper's kind of in our way. He's slowing us down. We're going to get hit by the Dragonoid. Thank you, Water Hopper. And we're going to use the Mandragora to get some iframes here. And Water Hopper is still trolling us, decided he want to go off in this direction. Oh my god. Stop it. Stop it. Die. Thank you. And we're going to go for a trick called Red Fairy Glitch here. We didn't get it. And the last recording, I did get it, and I was so happy. But we didn't get it there. Red Fairy Glitch allows that text box to stay up and prevents us from getting encounters. And also makes it to where we can just walk straight up to where we want to be in the boss fight and make it go by really fast. But we didn't get it, and it's fine. We'll just have to play through normally. It is a frame perfect trick, and it seems like there's also a bit of randomness to it. We're going to make our way over here. And he's dead. We're going to come over to the edge of the encounter here, because the longer time we spend on the map, the more likely we are to get a random encounter. We come down this waterfall. We now have the key, and this is the switch to open the gate. Like I mentioned earlier, we could have opened it at the beginning, but there would be no way to finish the level. We had to go and kill him to get the key. And you'll notice that when I'm in the water, I run slower, but also when I'm on the edge like that, my speed goes up, like I was actually on the sidewalk. For whatever reason, the hitbox for the sidewalk is a little weird, so we can run on water. That's kind of fun. We're going to make a beeline to the end here, and hopefully we don't get this last encounter. If we didn't, it's good. And we're actually going to pay attention to what we get here, because there is a card we would very much like to get. We did not get it. If we get that card, it pretty much guarantees that we will not have to worry about money for the rest of the game. And now we're going to come up on what used to be the hardest glitch until we realized that we could use the D-pad to position ourselves correctly. There's two places to go for it. One is a mandatory encounter, so you're guaranteed to get it if you go there, but it's a little bit further away, and it's a little bit harder to set up, and also you can't run from that encounter. So there's a chance that even if you do get out of bounds, you are not able to actually go anywhere. So this is good. We got that Birdman here. We're gonna just try to avoid him while we get our Mandragoras in our hand. He's being kind of persistent, which is a little bit annoying. But we need to get that running bird we just had in our hand, and unluckily for us, it's like at the bottom. He decided he was going to stop right on top of where we need to be. We're going to wait for him to do that, skip over. He should stop. It's fine if he doesn't. We can do this. There we go, and we're out. And that puts us right on top of the boss fight over here. It's actually still pretty hard to do. We got a little bit lucky with the timing there. I decided to go for it when I probably shouldn't have. We're going to shuffle out this Ray to get this Lizardman in our hand. And that'll allow us to kind of get her on a bit of a lockdown. If she tries to juke us, we'll be able to snipe her out like that and just kill her. That's Helena, by the way. She also uses the rune zones, as you saw. And that's the level. She's going around trying to steal all the rune stones that we're trying to collect, so she can be more powerful. Now that we finished that up, we're going to go to Bridge of Sarvan, which is the hardest walking clip. We don't really need to do anything here. It's just mandatory that we go there. Sends us up here. And there used to be the easiest walking clip in the game, which is where you just turn around and go along the invisible walls until you're out of bounds. But we decided that there is a card up here that is worth way more than it is to skip. We actually used a reset here before we found this clip here. If we do get an encounter, we would have preferred it to be right there in front of that chest, because it would give us enough experience to have an extra card at the end. And we prefer to have that extra card be a siren or another golden butterfly. Personally, for me, I prefer for it to be a siren. And now we're going to do our hardest walking clip in the game. Very acute positioning and not running. And I keep accidentally running. A little rust on the collar here. This should take us out of bounds here any second. No, we're a little off. There we go. So that was a little slower than I would have liked. Normally I'm not that bad at that one. But for whatever reason, I kept beginning running. I was a little bit too far up on the control stick. But yeah, we're out of bounds now. We're just going to run straight to the end. No cutscene to skip, so we're just going to start pressing A. Skip all the dialogue boxes. I am going to pay attention to what we get here. It's a golden butterfly. Everyone else would be really happy about that. I like to take my chances and just have one golden butterfly. Hardest stage in the game, all we had to do is skip the cutscene. Break the wall of text, and we are already at our next out of bounds walking clip. We're going to double back to the beginning here. This one's not too difficult. We just let the screen rock here until we fall out of bounds. We're going to take a certain route to try to avoid encounters while we're out of bounds, because we can still get them. Neat little thing when you're out of bounds, you can see the light from the runestone is actually going up to indicate that we are falling, even though we are still walking straight. We're going to come over here, come up here, turn around, and trigger this encounter. This fight can be difficult, so I'm actually not going to take it lightly. And come over here and break this. We're going to want to abuse some iframes here. We're going to want to get this guy out of our hand. We missed the iframes there a little bit. We're going to finish off that other guy. And that's pretty good. That's a decent fight. And instant skip the cutscene. We don't care what we get. On to the next level. And this is where we're going to use a little bit of some safety strats. And buy a certain card. Well, multiple copies of a certain card. But to buy the card, we need to make some money. So we're going to sell some things. We're going to sell that Necromancer. He's pretty expensive. Sell the Dragonoid, the Will-O-Wisp, the other Will-O-Wisp. What else do we got to sell? We can sell you and Catoblepus. Will get us a decent amount of money. And now we're going to buy a few Dragon Knights. I'm going to say 8. Which ended up being all we could buy. That's the mental math there for us. I'm not going to add them in yet. They're mainly to make the final stage easier. So we don't need them right now. We're going to keep playing through the game with what we've got. Normally we wouldn't buy anything there, but it does make the final stage significantly easier if we get them. And we're going to come up, and I believe this is our last out of bounds. Maybe? Off the top of my head, it's the last out of bounds. I could be wrong. I could be very wrong. But I don't think I'm wrong. We see this line here where it matches up with the corner on the edge of the map. And there's this little brown spot right here. We're just going to walk the same way we did in Sarvan. This one's not nearly as hard. And we're out. And we're going to walk straight to the boss as per usual whenever we go out of bounds. This boss is also not a cakewalk. It's actually not unheard of to die on this boss just because its attack patterns can be really irritating because all of its attacks are AoE and they have a pretty huge effect. It makes all damage increase, so we're going to come over here and kill these guys first, otherwise they will. We want to get out from under that because it's AoE damage. And we're just going to try to blast this guy down. And he's dead. Don't want to stand in front of him because his stinger can still hit us. It's a pretty good fight. We accidentally got hit once. There's our dad. He's dead. Yeah. The shame about the speedrun is there's just a lot of content that we don't get to experience. Like, we don't use summons. Summons are really, really cool, but we don't use them. We're going to reset this stage to reset the RNG. It's going to eliminate a certain encounter. And this stage is actually where we use the Get Running Bird for the end strat for Exodia, for a different strat that we use Running Bird for. But we discovered the Grail strat, so we started getting Running Bird earlier. We're going to come over here, and we're going to fight probably a Tiger Mage and a Kitty Trap. Not usually in that area. And you'll notice that I'm not the only one to get iframes. Every other enemy in the game gets iframes. But you'll notice, even though he was still flashing there, I was getting the iframes. I could bolt straight across here, but we're going to try to mitigate an encounter by coming over here. But the reason is because there's hit stun and there's also invulnerability, and his hit stun is actually longer than his invulnerability. So even though he's still flashing, we can hit him. We're gonna try to get this guy as he runs by. And we're gonna get this kitty trap, our own trap, break this. And it's gonna make us be able to get through here a lot easier. So the next thing we do, we're gonna come up and we are at the boss fight. We're gonna try to aggro everyone in the one corner and just blast them down. Make this boss fight as fast and easy as possible. Take this guy, try to aggro everyone over here in this corner. This guy de-aggroed. This fight can be a pain in that way. It's okay if they hit us a few times. We just want them all on top of each other, just like that. Now, if we beat them too fast, there will be too many crystals on the stage, and the game will crash. So we're going to take a few hits just to get some of those crystals out of the way. Come over here, there's a secret door that we're supposed to do a puzzle to find out what we're doing, but we don't really care about puzzles. We know the answers, so we just go straight to the end. And just like that, we are on to the last normal stage before the basically wind down for the game. There's a bunch of different routes we can take here. I take a specific one to try to manipulate which encounters we get, because we can break these gates and make it a lot faster to make it through the level if we get the encounters. Otherwise, we just have to walk around everything. So we're going to take this, and we're going to go all the way to the other side and hopefully get an encounter over there. It's not the end of the world if we don't, but it is preferred. There's really only one encounter that we really specifically have to get to make things as fast as possible. We'll break that again and run, and then head over to the next area. I'm going to take this longer route to try and trigger this encounter that we do want. Right here. Perfect. Use this last hit of the lizardman to break that gate. Run. And now we can open up this chest, which doesn't take much time to get around this gate, and we already have the gate over there broken to just make it go straight to where we need. We didn't really need this encounter, but it's fine. We don't need to break the gate. We're already done over there. And now we have all our candles. We basically just went around to pick up candles, put on these holders to access the secret passageway, and we're about to do something kind of neat. After putting all these candles on here, a cutscene's going to pop up, and we're going to try to skip it and still see the cutscene happen on the map. Just like that. We saw that door open, which is what the cutscene is. It's just the door opening. And this fight right here can also be a pain, but we shouldn't have too much trouble. These managers are going to make it a little bit irritating. We're going to try to use these on the demons there. Try to get them out of the way. Wait for the hit stun to end. And then just zone this guy down. So that ended up being an okay fight. We did end up having to use a couple of cards we didn't want to end up having to use, so it took a little bit longer. It was a pretty level fight. It's going to send us back to the apothecary, and we're going to go to the last 3 stages of the game. Oh, actually, before then, there is a mid-game boss that we're about to fight. So we actually want to sell some things. We got that vampire to sell, good. We got a couple tiger mages, a nightmare. That'll be more than enough. We didn't get any sirens, so we'll have to buy 2, and I'm going to buy apparently 8 cats. You know, just to be safe, I'll sell something else. I'll sell these crabs. And we don't need the managers anymore, so I'll sell all of them. And that'll keep us from having to take it out of our deck, and we'll get this last cat. And now we're going to take everything out of our deck and put in Exodia, which is a certain card combination that pretty much instantly kills most bosses. Without this fight can be kind of annoying. It's just like the other fight we did with her, but she's got different cards. We're going to let her summon and try to avoid this attack, and then throw down our Exodia to try to nuke her. So, right on through. And now she is stopped in one place. We put the Siren right on top of her, and she just dies. Boss fight over. And that is also how we're going to beat the semi-final boss. One more time back to the apothecary. We actually have all the cards that we need from now on, so we're just going to finish talking to her and be totally done with Gerd now, I believe. Oh, I made a mistake. We actually have to go through and add the cards that we got. It happens. Happens to the best of us. I got a little ahead of myself. So now we're going to add in the other Siren, the other hand, the cats, and the Dragon Knights. We no longer need Rays. Rays are actually faster, but Dragon Knights make the game so much easier from this point forward. And this stage, there's no real puzzle. We just run straight to the end. There's a mandatory fight coming up. Hopefully we don't get a fight before then. And this fight can also be really irritating. It is nice that we have Dragon Knights in our hand, and I tried to kill those fireballs before they got to me. But Dragon Knights make this fight incredibly easy. Because they are water, and they do a lot of damage. And they just have the perfect amount of timing for the hit stun, and so we're going to try to run from this without getting hit by those hands, and we did. And in all likelihood, we will make it to the boss fight without getting another encounter, because that was relatively close to the boss fight. Now, little weird tech that we figured out with this level. The Hand of Pains increase the power of fire cards. So, when we do this cat combo, it will do a stupid amount of damage, and everything will die in one hit. And boom. Instant kill of one of the hardest bosses in the game. We got Red Dragon. If we had gotten the Hand of Fires, I would have thought about adding him in. Just to have one of the cooler summons in the game in our deck. But it's really not worth it. Without the Hand of Fire or a Wizard, it's not worth it, and we don't have it either. So we're just going to go with what we've got. This stage is also just really long and riddled with a bunch of random encounters. So it can be a pain. And depending on what cards we have and what spawns here, we're going to kill this guy. Because as I said earlier on, sometimes it is faster to just kill things. And he dies in one hit from a Dragon Knight. We're going to go through these doors that we just opened and go get a piece of a key to something. We got another one of these guys and a Dragon Knight in our hand, so once again we're going to kill. But we have to hit those switches to open doors, and we have to get these keys to open a magic wall at the end of the stage. Basically, we're here to confront the so-called God of Destruction and save the God of Creation from it. He's all the way over there, so this time we're actually going to run. We just lost a kitty trap from our hand, which is going to make the final boss a little bit slower than it would be otherwise. The cat combo nearly kills this final boss and kills his minions. But it looks like we may not be able to just do that. So, not getting good cutscene skips in this stage. But I'm not really worried about that. We've just got one more key to get, and then we'll be heading towards the boss of this stage. It's kind of a fake out final boss, because they tell us that it's the God of Destruction, but it's not. It is not the God of Destruction. Only wishes he could be the God of Destruction. Those little circle things, actually, they reset your health, and they allow you to add cards that you picked up throughout the stage. They're pretty much just a waste of time in any percent. They're sometimes... Wow. Another, like, perfect setup for... If we get an encounter, that's the encounter we want to get, so I'm not going to complain about it. There's one more encounter we can get before the final boss right here. Don't want to hit that fairy. It takes some time, and we're going straight into the final boss. Well, not final boss. Boss of this stage. I see a couple of cats sitting on top, so I'm going to shuffle for them. We're going to hit stun these guys a little bit, and then this should be enough to kill everyone. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. That was a fantastic fight. And now, since we destroyed the Black Dragon, who was posing as the God of Destruction, we saved the God of Creation. She's going to use the last bit of her power to teleport us to Broach Black, which is the final stage of the game. And it is not easy. Not easy. It never gets easy. This is the difficult stage. It's basically a boss rush stage. All the difficult bosses make reappearances here. And then we have to fight the final boss, who isn't the final boss, and then fight the final boss. So luckily we haven't gotten any encounters yet. We're about to come up to these floating platforms where we have this thing called tax. Basically, anytime you go through the floating platform, you have to pay toll booth to make through. Sometimes you don't, and sometimes you have to pay it twice. Let's hope we don't. We didn't on the first way through, but now we gotta get this and go back. And this is just a matter of remembering which places to go for what. And we made it through without getting taxed. So this is going to be the final encounter of the stage before we get to semi-final boss of the game. And this time it's actually two of those puppet masters that gave us so much trouble. We're going to want to try to keep them close here while we shuffle to get a third cat in our hand. Because we will want to kill these guys at the same time. So we're going to come over here, and this is the out of bounds. We go out of bounds, and we can run from this encounter, but we're going to wait to see if the cats die. And they did. Because if we run from the encounter, there's a chance we lose Running Red or Golden Butterfly, and that ruins the final fight. Normally I would just run straight through those platforms, but if you're not really specific, you can accidentally trigger an encounter. So we're just going to run off the side of the stage to avoid that. And we're going to make our way around. The area we're coming up to used to be where we would do our out of bounds, but that one is so much earlier that we found, and it's actually easier than this encounter up here that we used to use. So we made it around that encounter, and we're just going to walk straight into the boss room. Once again, listen for the music to stop and start pressing start. Music stopped, press start, perfect cutscene skip. Now we are going to want to shuffle to get our Exodia in our hand. That Siren's almost dead, so we're going to want to shuffle for a different Siren. We're just going to basically kite around here until we get Exodia in our hands. Which we almost do. We just need that fresh Siren that's hidden in here somewhere. Right there. So now we run and we try to bait out a summon. That one's fine. We'll run around this way and throw Siren down right on top of him. And it should be just enough time to kill him before the time stop runs out. Perfect. Great fight. Great fight. And now I know that we actually have Exodia on top of our deck for this fight. So I'm going to be going for that. Actually, to start off, I'm going to use these Dragon Knights to try and keep him from blowing things up. So we're actually going to take our time here. And we don't actually want to be right on top of him there. But we're going to keep this fire elemental dead so he doesn't blow up the world. So we're just going to take it easy, try to get our way around here. It turns out that Hand of Pain didn't fully die, so that's not good for us, but we can cat combo now. And that's going to hurt him pretty bad. And kill that fire elemental to keep him from blowing up the world. We'll go ahead and shuffle this guy out. And I think we're just going to finish him off with cat combos. So we're going to let him blow up the world this time. We're at a safe distance. It's a shame we didn't get to use the cat combo. I mean, the Exodia on him. I rarely get to do it. And I messed up the timing there. So that's not good. Kill this guy. Get hit by that apparently. Let him summon. Hit him with that. And now we're going to blow up. Try to get it before he blows up the world. We did. And we should have just enough to get through this fight. Perfect. That was a really close fight. But we did it. And that's it. That's the game. That is Lost Kingdoms 1. Any percent. If you have any questions about the run, any of the tech that we use that I skipped over, anything about the lore, you can ask me, or you can join our Discord, which is listed on the speedrun.com/LK1 website. We're always looking for people to join. We've got, I think, around 100 members, and everyone is super nice to each other. We have a code of conduct, but we don't really need it because everyone in the Discord is really chill. Thanks for hanging out, and hopefully I'll see you guys soon. 4206 isn't that bad.